Hello, I'm Abby Swindle, and today I have created an encouraging literacy growth and development activity. The title of this activity is Felt Board Activity, and the age range for this activity is age 4. I chose this age range based off the standards that I used from the Mississippi Early Learning Guidelines. This activity can be done for younger age groups, but that would mean changing the standards and the book used for the lesson. The standards that I used were 2 from the language strand domain and literature. And that standard is with guidance and support, ask and or answer questions with details related to a variety of print materials. The second one from that domain is with guidance and support, identify some characters, settings, and or major events in the story. And the third one is for standards for speaking and listening with the domain comprehension and collaboration, and that one is with guidance and support, ask and or answer questions in order to obtain information or clarify something that is not understood. And the specific goal that I gathered for this activity based off these standards is that these students will be able to describe character settings and or major events in the stories using correct grammar. And the objectives I used and pulled from ideas from the standards were the students will be able to answer detailed questions about the story. They will be able to recall events about the story during the felt activity with guided support. And the students will ask questions about events in the stories to understand it to the fullest extent. And based off the story, which is Harold and the Purple Crayon, the vocabulary that I chose to introduce in this activity is moonlight, straight, lost, path, reminded, and deserving. And the materials needed are Harold and the Purple Crayon by Crockett Johnson, which I don't have that book with me, but it can be purchased at any bookstore that has books for kids, such as Books A Million and maybe even Target and Walmart. And the felt board pieces for the board, and the board for the felt pieces, and then felt pieces including the main parts of the story from Harold and the Purple Crayon, which can be cut out with the felt material and can be used with glue. It's a great opportunity for the teacher to kind of get creative with this activity. For the description of the activity, the students will join the teacher on the carpet for the reading of Harold and the Purple Crayon. And before they begin reading, the teacher will explain to the student what a character, setting, main event, plot, and conflict are in the story and introduce these definitions to them as well. She will explain to the students that as they listen to the story, they will try to recognize these key features in the story. They will read the book together while asking and answer questions about what's going on throughout the pages of the story. After the reading, the teacher will bring out the felt board and the materials that go with the story, and the teacher will retell the story, talk about the main characters, and identify some of the events as a group. The teacher will allow the students to put the felt pieces on the board and take them off as the story goes on. The felt board pieces can include main items Harold drew, such as the moon, the lines he had to walk on, the tree, the buildings, the dragon, the ocean, all of the things that he drew as the story went on, and of course his purple crayon he used to draw it, and Harold. They can retell the whole story as they go through the felt board, but the teacher can use this time to ask the students more detailed questions about the story, what felt pieces they should put on there now, as far as what events are going on in the story, what is happening on the page, what the current conflict is on the pages, and the conflicts he encounters, and what they think the plot of the story is. The setting changes as the pages go on, but it is always outside. The assessment questions that can be used in this activity that relate to the objectives and the standards are: who was the main character in the story, what was Harold doing throughout the story, and what was the first conflict Harold had when he began his walk. These are very detailed questions that require simple answers, but the answers could be a little more descriptive depending on the students' literacy levels and the way that they understand the information. But this will allow the teacher to observe if the students comprehended these definitions and are really able to retain the information that they learned in the story in the felt board activity. Teacher interaction and scaffolding is very important in this activity. New ideas, definitions, and a more complex story will be introduced, and then the felt board activity will need the teacher guidance to the fullest, or it can become kind of chaotic. The teacher will guide circle time, the reading of the story, and the felt board activity. She will encourage the students to ask and answer questions, retell key details of the story, and communicate with their peers about the activity. The teacher will start the activity by reading the book, and she can ask questions throughout the story, such as what they think Harold is doing, what is he drawing now before reading the text on the page, descriptive questions, where they think Harold is, things like that. These questions will encourage engagement amongst the students and enhance their literacy skills by being able to recall events of the story and recall key details. After the reading of the story, the teacher will introduce the felt board and explain to the students what they will be doing with it. The teacher will start by letting the students help her put the felt pieces on the board. She will call on each student as they go on to ask them questions about what they think is about to happen, what is going on this page, what's Harold drawing, and then she will allow the students to put those felt pieces on that correlate with the pages of the story. And then she can continue to ask them questions about what's going on in the story, what they think is going to happen next, see if they're able to remember these key details, events, and what Harold is going to do next. This activity can be really engaging, and presenting the felt board after the reading can allow the students to see the book from a different perspective and a more hands-on approach. If they still struggled with these definitions throughout the reading of the story, having the felt board can give them another opportunity to learn these definitions and put them to use in a different way by using the felt pieces and the felt board.